So let us now discuss some basic terms related to this testing of hypothesis. So first of all, let us discuss about population. So first of all, you should know what a population is. So population is collection of all possible units. Collection of all possible units. This is one thing. And as I've told you, this collection need not be all humans. So this need not be humans. So it could be anything. It could be a collection of mobile phones, laptops, insects, fruits, humans, anything. And another thing that we have is sample. So sample is a smaller portion of the population. Right. So what are the parameters that we may use for population? So this is important. So one thing, you may use this symbol which represents mu to denote the mean of the population. And you may use this symbol sigma square, right, to represent the variance of the population. Another thing, for sample, you may use x bar to represent the sample mean of the sample, and you may use small s to represent the standard deviation. Now what is the relationship between standard deviation and variance? Standard deviation is square root of variance. So you may write s square to be the variance. If you do not remember these concepts, just go through them once. So after this, after defining these parameters, then for population we use capital N to represent the number of objects or the number of members which are present in the population, and we use small n to represent the number of objects in the sample. Number of objects in the sample. Right. Now this n could be finite or infinite also, depending on the population consists of finite number of elements or infinite number of elements. So can you think of an example of finite population? The population of ants. That is a finite population. Why? Because you may count all the total number of ants. However, the task would be quite difficult because there are so many ants. But still, you are able to calculate or count the number of ants. So that comes under the category of finite population. And then infinite population, which would have infinite number of objects. So if we are talking about the particles of dust, basically you cannot count them, right? So this could also be one example of infinite population. So now there are several methods by which you could select your sample. You could select your sample randomly, or you may select your sample based on certain characteristic. For example, in the case of selecting a sample from BTech students, I may select the students based on their roll numbers, I may select the students based on their branches, or I may select the students randomly, right? So I may say the first person over there, the last person over there, and the fifth person over there, that consists of my sample. So according to that, I may define the sample, right? So that comes under the sampling techniques. Now next is more terms relating to this concept of testing of hypothesis. So First of all, as we have been talking about testing of hypothesis, so what is a hypothesis? That is the first question. So hypothesis means a statement which is yet to be proved. So it is a statement or assumption that is yet to be proved. So this word is a very common word which is used in science. For example, if we talk about the great scientist Sir Newton, then before he gave any law, so what these people do, they create a statement which would work as the hypothesis. So that statement, because of their observations and everything, they say that okay, this is the statement, this thing could be there, but there are no proofs available with them at that particular moment to prove that certain thing. For example, Newton once said that the apple is falling because of the gravity, right? So that was a hypothesis at that time because he could not prove it. Later, various scientists and researchers from different fields, they worked on that thing and they proved that yes, the thing that he was saying at that particular time was there. So later on, when this thing was proved, this hypothesis became the result which we all study now. So that is how these things work, right? So hypothesis here in statistics means we are giving a statement which could be true, which could be false. So depending on that, we will do the calculations and judge about this statement, whether the statement that we created in the starting of the solution of the problem is correct or incorrect. So that would be hypothesis. So now there could be two kind of hypothesis. One is this scientific hypothesis, another is this statistical hypothesis. So what is scientific hypothesis? For example, we will say in the example for this scientific hypothesis is that yield of new paddy variety will be 3500 kg per hectare. The yield of a new paddy variety will be 3500 kg per hectare. So that is a scientific hypothesis. Because this thing has not been proved yet. We are talking about the future event. However, the same thing stated in statistical hypothesis terms would be the random variable which is the yield of paddy. So first of all, we define that we are talking about yield of paddy. So we define this to be the random variable over here. So this random variable we will say is normally distributed with a mean of 3500 kg per hectare, right? So we are talking about the same thing, but now in terms of mean and variances. So we are saying the mean here of the random variable, which is the yield of paddy, is equal to 3500 kg per hectares, right? So this is what is the basic difference. That means we are talking about the same thing in terms of mean and variances now. Another category is that of simple hypothesis and composite hypothesis. Now what is a simple hypothesis? In simple hypothesis, these basically are the portions of statistical hypothesis. So in this hypothesis, what we say if in our hypothesis statement if we define both the mean as well as the standard deviation, then this is a simple hypothesis. So that means a hypothesis which specifies all the parameters, that is a simple hypothesis. However, composite hypothesis is what? Only one of the parameters is defined for a composite hypothesis. So if this hypothesis, composite hypothesis, specifies only some of the parameters of the probability distribution, then we call this to be the composite hypothesis. For example, only the mean or only the standard deviation is specified. Right. The next category is the most important of all, which is null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis. And these hypotheses will be used in the solution of to our statistical problems. So one is this null hypothesis, one is this alternative hypothesis. In null hypothesis, we use the symbol H naught, H0. In alternative hypothesis, we use the symbol H1, right? So these are the notations. So in this null hypothesis, actually, whatever is our statement, we call that to be the alternative hypothesis. Suppose we wanted to check the rates of a fashion brand. For example, we wanted to check the rates of a so in that case, we say that the mean rates, they are equal to say 1000, say, right? So this is our alternative hypothesis, that we are saying that the mean rate of the given sample is equal to 1000. However, the null hypothesis in this case would cancel out its effect. So that means it will nullify. So nullify means cancel out the effect of alternative hypothesis. So that means it will say the just the opposite to the alternative hypothesis. So if this is your H1, so corresponding to this H1, what would be your null hypothesis? Your null hypothesis would be that the mean rates would not be equal to 1000. So initially, our main focus would be on this null hypothesis. Whatever decision we will make this on the null hypothesis. So you should define in the very starting of your solution the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis very carefully, right? And suppose if we are comparing two varieties, suppose this is one variety, this is second variety, right? So what we are doing, these are two samples of the product that you are seeing. So for this first variety, we are saying the mean is mu1. For the second variety, we are saying the mean is mu2. Now we wanted to check whether these two quantities, they are having the same means or not, whether there is any difference between these two or not. So that is what we wanted to check. So in the alternative hypothesis, we will say that the means, they are equal to each other. That means there is no difference among them. There is no difference among two varieties. However, in the null hypothesis, we will say that yes, there is some difference between these two varieties. That means the mean of these two, they are not equal to each other, right? So that would be your null hypothesis. So based on that, if we are saying this H naught, or our hypothesis, suppose your H naught is that we do not have any difference among these two varieties. So your H1 would be what? We have different between these two varieties. Now, if these two means they are not equal, so that means we could have two cases. One case is that the first mean is lesser than the second mean, or in the second case, your first mean is greater than the second mean. So these two possibilities are only there, right? So based on this, if you have this thing, then we call this to be the two-tail test. And if we have either of these two cases, then we call this to be the one-tail test or one-sided test. Right? So what initially we do, we create these kind of hypotheses, and we do calculations, and then we make decisions. So first of all, we formulate these hypotheses. Then what we do? We do the calculations. And thereafter we make decisions about that. So this is the rough story from till here, right? So when you do this, when you make decisions out of this, so obviously there would be errors involved because we are not taking the exact case. So we have a term which is known as sampling error. As I've told you, your sample could not be a very good estimate of the whole of the population. So there obviously there would be a difference between the given sample data and the population data. So using according to that, we have sampling error. So whatever is the difference between the results of the population and the estimate of population which is made through sample is known as sampling error. Right? So basically what is the thing? This is the given population. There is a sample. In most of the real cases, this population is not available to you directly. So in fact, you only have access to the sample. So that is the use of statistics, that you have sample, you do calculations and manipulations on the sample, right? And you make decisions or predictions. You make decisions and predictions about the population from the sample. So you see, from the small information, you may have a decision on your population. So that is the beauty of studying this statistics. So what we are doing, we make decisions from the small sample to this population. However, to check whether our decisions they are correct or not, we should have the population also. So whatever is the actual results, which are the parameters for this population, and whatever the results you got by applying the statistics to your sample, so whatever is the error between these two, that is known as sampling error. So whatever is the error here, that is known as sampling error. And moreover, we have also one more kind of errors which are known as decision errors. So what are decision errors? So there could be two things that could happen. Now we only make decisions corresponding to this null hypothesis. So whether there could be two cases, whether your null hypothesis could be true or it could be false. You do not know in the very starting. So actually you do not know it is true or false. So based on your calculations, you will either accept it or you will reject it. And similarly, either if it is false, in that case also you may accept it or you may reject it. That depends on your calculation and the results. So according to that, if it is true and we accept this, that case is okay. But if it is true and we reject this, that means we are creating an error here. And if the hypothesis is false and we accept it, that means we are also creating an error here. If the hypothesis is false and we are rejecting it, that means we are doing it correct, right? So based on that, we may have errors. So let me write down here. If your H0, that means the null hypothesis, is true or your null hypothesis is false. This is the case, and the case is you accept your null hypothesis or you reject your null hypothesis. So if in the first case your hypothesis is true and you accept it, that means you are making the correct decision. Moreover, if your hypothesis is false and you are rejecting it, then also you are making the correct decision, right? However, if your hypothesis is true and you are rejecting it, then we call that to be the type 1 error. And if your hypothesis is false and you are accepting it, then you are doing type 2 of error, right? So that is also a concept here. These could be the errors that you obtain using statistics, because you actually do not know whether your hypothesis is true or false. These decisions we are making on the basis of our calculations, right?